Good morning. My goodness, it is a little chilly today. Well, it won't be chilly by later, but it's chilly at the moment. Welcome to my vlog. I've tried uploading a video not too long ago. Don't think it was very successful. But I know it's been a while since even that. So there's a lot going on. You know, it's hard enough being trans. It really is. Many of you can relate, I'm sure. It's even harder being a parent. Coming out to my kids, it flowed, you know. I've always been very open and honest with my children about who I am, what I am, how I am. And I'm not against letting my children make up their own minds about how they feel about it. I encourage them to make up their own minds about how they feel about it, you know, because their feelings are their own. And it's completely valid. You know, I don't care what anybody says. Because I'm not that. You know, so obviously I'm not gonna have their feelings. You know, those are their feelings. So it was difficult at first. Recently, you know, when I first came out to my kids, they were super supportive, you know, totally cool with it, everything else. Said that they were totally cool with it anyway. And then my oldest moved in with some friends because where we were living was just not conducive to the needs of my teenager. So that was tough decision number one that I made. But, you know, her moving out, she was still close and everything else. So, you know, I did pretty good with it. You know, it was hard, but I could at least still go see her. We'll come around to more of that. I know I'm talking in the past tense here, so you're probably wondering what the hell. But, you know, she finally was able to open up to the mom about how she felt about my transition. And she battled with feelings of guilt over not telling me sooner. And you know, that guilt that she felt is what hurt the most. It's not the fact that she didn't tell me her true feelings. You know, granted, it would have been nice. But that's not what hurt the most. You know, my kids know I want honesty out of them. You know, just lay it on me. You know, be honest with me. Tell me the truth. Tell me your genuine feelings. I try really, really hard to teach my kids to not worry about how I'm going to react. Because while I may not be thrilled with their response to something that I'm doing, but I'm going to support their feelings every time, every step of the way. As you can probably tell, I do not cater to toxic masculinity. I am about my feelings. I am all about my feelings. I'm all about emotions. And feeling them. Acknowledging them, feeling them, working through them. It's a real thing. And, it does nobody any good to hide feelings. It makes you sick. It really does. All hiding your feelings and bottling it all up, that only makes you sick. It's not conducive to a healthy life. Or relationships. So I have fought hard to teach my children to express themselves however they need to. So that they can learn healthy ways to express themselves. And it's always an ongoing thing. But anyway, so the hardest part for me about all of that was the fact that she felt guilty for not telling me the truth. And I told her, it's okay. I said, your feelings are your feelings. I'm not going to be upset because you feel a certain way about something. So it came down to she wasn't as supportive of my transition as she originally said she was. And that's okay. At the time I came out, she was 16. So here she has known me as mom for 16 years of her life. And throughout all of that, she's not had any real positive male role models. So, naturally she's worried about losing whatever bond, we had fought to create. And that's a legit feeling. When you're transitioning and everything, it doesn't matter what direction you're going in or whether, gender is just, it's a galaxy of being. It's its own galaxy of being. So no matter what way you're transitioning, it's going to feel potentially traumatic to those around us. And that's a valid feeling, because to a point they feel like they're losing a part of us, or they're losing us in some way. And I feel like there's a grieving period that needs to happen. Then she went on vacation with the family. And sent me a message. Now, I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. Don't you dare fucking try to sit here and judge me. Because I'm not having it. Because the decision that I had to make was difficult. And it was a group effort to make the decision that I had to make. Because again, parenting is hard. There is not a damn thing about parenting that's easy. Anybody who thinks that it is, well, they probably don't have whether they are a day old or 26. Parenting is hard. So, my child had gone to Georgia with her boyfriend and his family. Mind you, my child is 17. And I wouldn't have let her go if I didn't think that it was safe. So, she did not go until after I had done research in the area and everything. So just don't. You're not me. But she sent me a message. She said, hey, I've been looking around and researching the schools and everything else. And here is a comparison to our local high school and school district. I said, okay, lay it on me. So the high school here in our beloved town, I use the term loosely, I do love this town. There's a lot of freaking changes that need to be made. So anyway, in our beloved town, we have one high school. And a couple of years ago, they made a change to the school system. They moved all of the 6th graders over to the middle schools. They changed all the junior highs to middle schools. They moved all the 6th graders to the middle school, all of the 9th graders to the high school. The high school is the one that's suffering for all of this. Son of a bitch, I don't have time for this. Shit. God damn it. I do not have time for this. Nobody has time for this. Son of a bitch. Should have hit the highway back there. Where can I turn around? It's not going to bode well for me. Let's see. Nope. Not having it. I don't have time for this. Anyway. I have an appointment that I have to get to. So now I have to backtrack. Hit the highway. And book it. Luckily I've got plenty of time to do it, but still. I don't have time for fucking road construction. Anyhow. Much respect to those who do road construction. I have a high respect for the job you guys do. However, I don't have time today for this. Anyway. Where's my thought process? So, they shifted everybody. doing so, they put the high school under some serious pressure. Because now the high school houses more than 3,000 students. Okay? 3,000. Think about that for a minute. There's only one high school in this frickin' town, and it now houses more than 3,000 students. So, for decades, and no, that's not an exaggeration, for decades, I mean, they were fighting for this before I hit high school back in the day. Okay. But we've been fighting for a new high school for decades, desperately. And it's never gone through. Mind you, this is very, very frustrating for a lot of people because, like I said, the high school houses more than 3,000 students. It's a ridiculous number for the size of our town. That's ridiculous. You know, we need another high school. But that's neither here nor there. We're fighting for a new high school, and it's a fight. So anyway, the high school that is local to where she was vacationing only houses 875 students. That's it. 875 students, and compare that to more than 3,000. Think about that for a second. Okay? Here, my child was ready to give up. Okay? Granted, her IEP team is pretty awesome, but the school lacks a lot in communication. The school district kind of lacks in communication. Not to say that I don't love it here, and not to say that I don't like the school district. For mainstream children, it's great. You know, I wouldn't have any other school district at this point for my children, mainstream wise. However, for children who need help, okay, special needs, children with IEPs, this is not the greatest school district for them. Because there's a lot of communication that lacks. And that's a problem. It's one that the school district still needs to address, and it's a fight. Everything is a fight, which it shouldn't be. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. So, she also looked into the IEP program down there. And came back to me and said, you know, this is how the IEP program here is compared to our particular district. And I said, okay. So of course, you know, I reached out to a few people went to school or had schools, or had kids in schools out in that area, who were on IEPs, which a lot of my friends had IEPs growing up. That's just my circle of friends. They all benefited from it, so, it's pretty awesome. So I had a few friends that grew up out there in Georgia, and they're like, yeah, the IEP program out there is phenomenal. Communication is impeccable, and they backed up everything that I was hearing from my child. It's like, okay, so I can check that off the list. So the next thing that I had to think about at this point is, all right, the virus. Okay. My child now wants to live out here. And I understand that the state of Georgia is a hotspot for COVID. Okay, I get that. Like I said, don't you dare come at me and judge me. And mind you, this decision that I made, like I said before, is not just, I did not make this decision alone. Okay, I had the mother of my child's boyfriend helping me make this decision. I had his grandmother, who is taking care of the kids for the moment, helping me make this decision. Okay, in addition to the support of my own mother, my aunt, and my own girlfriend. So this was a group decision of the highest degree that was being made. And not made lightly. Okay? I am highly protective of my children. Highly protective. To the point that I have had counselors say, you need to loosen the reins. And loosening the reins when you've got kids and have had to be overprotective is hard. Especially coming from the background that I have. So by making these decisions, that's me working on loosening the reins. That's me letting my children go and experience life, to go off and have their experiences and do their thing and whatnot. Yeah, don't slam on your brakes, yo. Slamming on the brakes is just not cool. Traffic. Come on, people. I'm gonna need to get in there. There you go. There we go. Okay. So, of course, like I said, I'm very protective over my children, and I've had to be. So, figuring out how to loosen the reins has been hard. Now, the reins have been loosened. And it took the final clincher on my decision to say, okay, let's do this, was the videos It was the articles. It was reading the decisions from the school board, all relating to the schools and how the schools are handling the COVID situation. What are they doing to protect the children? What are they doing to protect the teachers? Because if all the teachers get sick, well, then what are you supposed to do? So it's like, okay, how are you going to protect the children, and how are you protecting the teachers? And so, reading up on what the school board had decided, reading up on, the procedures, watching the videos explaining and showing the procedures, and then finally sitting down with the mom and the grandma and saying, okay, well, this is the ground rule, because the boyfriend now drives, so we don't have to worry about the kids riding a bus unless grandma needs the car. So it's going to be okay. They get to school, and before they step out of that car, they better have their mask on, and then they're not to take off the mask until they get back in the car again. Okay, I'm down with that. I said, well, what about, the youngers? And she said, well, it's going to be the same situation with them on the bus. They put their mask on before they even set one foot on that bus. The bus driver will have hand sanitizer that's available for the kids to use. When they get on the bus driver will make sure that they use the hand sanitizer before they step off the bus. And they're to keep their masks on until they step off the bus and get home. Okay. So that was it. That was all I needed, was to be able to be assured and reassured and triple assured that, precautions are being made on all levels. In addition to that, today is like the hardest day of my life right now. Yes, I've had hard days, but for the moment, this is the hardest day of my life. Because I've been there physically for every single first day of school that my child has had. Not so much for my youngest, unfortunately, because I've had to work, and, older kids tend to get, off to school earlier than elementary school kids do. And so, taking that into consideration, so I have spent the last 10 years, 11 years, 11 years because preschool, 11 school years, taking that first day of school picture on the first day of school, and then that last day of school picture on the last day of school, and being there, being there to give her a hug and a kiss and tell her to have a good day, and waving to her as she gets on the bus and heads off to go have an adventure. And that's the way I see school. You put them on a bus and it's like, okay, go. It's like in Finding Nemo, go have an adventure. Be safe, go have an adventure. And, that's how it's always been. Well, now, for the first time ever, first of all, my child is on the other side of the U.S., out in Washington State. So, that's a big, gigantic, my children once said huge mungus. Difference, I mean, that's thousands of miles away. And that alone is hard. But when you go from being there every year and to suddenly you're not, it hits. If you're anything like me, it hits. Mind you, I will be the first to admit that on the first day of school, it's not my children that are a hot mess on the first day of school. No, it's me. I'm that parent. I am the parent who cries on the first day of school because my babies are growing up and, they're getting older, and this is just one more step in that direction. Bridge, and it was nerve-wracking. This is not the best bridge to change lanes on. Side winds are hell. But anyway. So I'm always an emotional mess, and it's every year. Okay? I may not always be a bawling mess every year. Some years I am, some years I'm not. It just kind of depends on the ebb and flow of my own emotions. Luckily, I'm glad I left early like I did, because I'm doing great for time. I'm an emotional wreck on the first day of school. Again, I don't give in to toxic masculinity at all. I embrace some of my more feminine aspects. You didn't use a blinker. You're a cop and you didn't use a blinker. Sorry. I'll be nice. Anyway. I'm bad, I know. But I mean, okay, so emotions, throughout history, a display of emotions has always been seen as weak. Nope. Showing emotions is a strength, hiding your emotions, it's not good. But anyway, I have many more feminine traits that I embrace, and throughout my transition, I have zero intentions of changing them. One being like my hand movements. Okay, my hands do all this, and my Ankle and wrist syndrome. So I have very feminine ways of moving my hands and things like that. And I embrace that. I absolutely, positively embrace that. You know? It's just part of who I am. And I like it. Besides, I also identify as non-binary, so it's neither here nor there. But anyway, I know I've been blabbering on about parenting and this decision and everything else. The long and short of it, though, is that it was a really hard decision to make. Today is the first day of school for my child and her boyfriend and his family. And it's hitting hard. Hard enough that, you know, I did a post last night, you know, letting my child know that I'm very proud of her. You know, I'm very proud of the decision that she made. I'm proud of her for advocating her decision. And everything else. And, you know, I posted that, and then I sat there and I cried. You guys, y'all, I just sat there and I cried and I cried and I cried. My girlfriend comes in and she's like, what's wrong? And I just looked at her. I couldn't do anything else. I looked at her and I'm crying and I can't verbalize. Because yeah, when I start crying, I can't talk. Try as I might. But when I'm crying, communication just kind of shuts down. And it's a thing. There we go, now I can see better. It's cloudy here. Yeah, I just sat there and I cried and I cried and I cried. And she held me and it's like, that's all I needed. You know, when I have these hyper emotional moments or intensely emotional moments, you know, I just need to be held. Somebody to hold me, you know, rub my back, tell me it's going to be okay. You know, I need that reassurance, because in those moments are where I am more likely to question myself and question my decisions and question whether or not I'm doing the right thing, you know, and that's the depression. My depression is freaking bastard. You know, and depression is a freaking bastard. I kid you not. Because depression will lie to you. It makes your brain lie to you. It makes you question everything. You know, and insecurities come out, and I mean, it's just, depression is a freaking bastard. Anxiety is a bastard because it makes you lie to yourself too. That's a thing. you know, and so I talked to the mom, boyfriend's mom, you know, told her it's okay. Not really in the mood to cry on camera, you guys. I promise, I'm not trying to cry on camera. Besides, I'm driving. Crying and driving are not productive. You know, and she reminded me that, you know, I made the right decision. It was a group decision. I had somebody on my post point out, you realize that Georgia is a hot spot. And it's like, I don't need that. I don't need that. You know, my depression is already kicking me in the ass. The last thing I need is for somebody to come at me and question my decisions. I'm already questioning my decisions. I'm already constantly questioning my decisions. I don't need somebody to come in here and feed that. Luckily, the mom saw the comment on my post and she stepped in and said her piece. And I'm sitting there like, this hurts. The fact that I'm not there hurts enough. This is like twisting a knife, you know, but the person's comment was like twisting a knife that was already in my heart. And like, I can't do this. You know, this isn't okay. It's not okay. It's not cool. You know, it's not what I needed. But, anyway, y'all, I'm at a parking garage, so I'm gonna let y'all go. That's just kind of my thing. If you guys have held on this long to my video, then you guys are rock stars. Alright. So, take care. I need to find a parking spot. I will catch you guys on the flip side.